Hi class. Here to post on Module 7's discussion, the 4Cs. Reading this week's materials really pushed me to take a step back and really confront what it means for LGBTQ students to feel true belonging in our classrooms, to go beyond just protecting them from harm, but actually ensuring that they're fully seen, celebrated, and affirmed and valued in ways that positively shape their everyday experiences at school. The 4Cs assignment, I chose supporting LGBTQ students in elementary school text from this week's module. Number 1, connections. Reading the article supporting LGBTQ students in elementary school immediately brought me back to my own experiences in school, both as a student and as an educator. I remember how much it mattered when a teacher made space without making it a big deal, and how painful it was when certain identities were ignored, not noticed intentionally, or named. The articles focus on everyday practices like the books we choose, the language we use, and how we respond in the moment connects directly to this module and earlier modules where we talked about those whose stories are centered and those who are missing. This piece makes it clear that LGBTQ plus students and families are still way too often in that missing category unless educators intentionally bring them in. And as educators, it's our responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen in our classrooms. Number 2, challenge. This text really challenges the idea that we don't have any LGBTQ plus students here, or they're too young for this, as excuses to avoid doing this very important work. It challenges the assumption that safety is enough, that as long as no one is being openly bullied, we're doing our job. The article makes it clear that silence is absolutely not neutral. When we avoid LGBTQ plus topics, fail to name diverse families, or let gendered assumptions slide, we send a message, intentional or not, about who belongs and who doesn't. It also disrupts the narrative that inclusion is something we can add on later once everything else is in place. Instead, it insists that inclusion for LGBTQ plus students must be built into the foundation of our classroom culture from the very beginning, which I absolutely agree with. This work has to start early in the curriculum and in our daily interactions, so students grow up knowing that their identities are valid, visible, and valued. Number 3, concepts. A few concepts from the article that feel essential for me to hold on to is the idea of mirrors and windows in classroom texts. LGBTQ plus students need to see themselves reflected, and all students need windows into lives and families that may be different from their own. Another is the emphasis on avoiding gendered assumptions in everyday interactions, like not dividing the class into boys and girls, or assuming a child's caregiver if they're a girl or boy. I see this constantly where I teach, and I honestly never questioned how limiting that practice could be until I dove into this module. The article also highlights the importance of using teachable moments, which is crucial. Not letting jokes, comments, or questions slide, but using them to affirm identities and challenge stereotypes in age-appropriate ways. These ideas are crucial for educational equality because they move us from a reactive stance, we'll address it if something happens, to a proactive one where belonging is intentionally created through language, curriculum, relationships, and everyday interactions. Number 4, changes. The text calls for real shifts in how we think and how we teach. It pushes educators to move from, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'll just say nothing, to I'm willing to learn, try, and sometimes stumble in order to show students that they matter. Making real life changes shows up in so many ways, like choosing inclusive lesson plans and literature so LGBTQ plus students, like all students, can see themselves represented. It means examining our routines and asking where gender is unnecessarily built in, and then having the courage to change those practices. It also means advocating for clearer school policies, staff training, and shared language so this work isn't dependent on a few committed teachers, but becomes a universal expectation across the entire school. For me, the biggest shift the article calls for is refusing to settle for safe enough. If we take this text and this module seriously, then our goal has to be classrooms where LGBTQ plus students feel seen, named, affirmed, celebrated, and never ever just tolerated. In the end, this text leaves me with a crystal clear truth. If we want LGBTQ plus students to experience true belonging, then we have to take an honest look at our own practices, challenge the systems that fall short, and commit every single day to creating classrooms where every single child knows that they matter.